Hi everyone and welcome to Cook School recipe number 9 with Mrs McGonigal and
Edward.
We weren't actually planning on doing a video this morning. I'm obviously ready to go for a run and Edward's been outside playing with his dad. But as today is VE Day, marking 75 years since victory in Europe, we are actually having a social distancing street party with our neighbours, and Edward and I are on scone duty. So before I go out on my run, we're going to make a batch of scones and get them in the oven. We're going to make cheese scones, which is the recipe we're going to show you, but we're also making a sweet scone, which is the same recipe that Sam made for MasterChef, where we're going to fill it with fresh cream and lovely jam, and Sam's recipe was a total success. As always, we have our shout outs to do. So Sophie in Primary 3, who made a lovely pancake bake, I think it looked amazing. Our mum sent me a picture of it. Freya in Primary 5, who has been cooking with Dad, our crumble recipe. Jessica and Emily, her mum sent me a lovely message saying that the girls have been making our recipes for neighbours who have been doing the marathon run in their back garden, a relay. So well done to all the mums and dads who've been doing the marathon relay while in isolation. And also, as always, to Una and Iona, who have also been doing our last recipe for crumble. So thank you very much to everyone for doing our recipes, and we're just going to show you very quickly some lovely scones and hope that you can make them for today's VE afternoon tea celebrations. I am going to try and get this video up within the next hour, so hopefully it might not be as slick as normal, but hopefully you'll still be able to do our recipe. So we're going to get started. So Edward is just going to very quickly talk us through the ingredients that we're going to use for our cheese scones this morning. What is our first one?
Butter.
55 grams of butter we've got.
Flour.
We've got 225 grams of self-raising flour.
Sugar.
It's not sugar, it's salt. We're going to add a pinch of salt. Cheese. We have got 100 grams of cheese, which Edward is going to grate. We've got hot paprika. Now this is optional. You do not need to add the hot paprika, but we're going to add it to our cheese scones. And then we have got 150 millilitres of milk. So not a lot of ingredients for this morning, but it is a quick recipe and we're just going to make it right now. Okay, so our first new skill for today is going to be using the grater. Edward is going to grate our mature cheddar cheese. So we've got 100 grams of mature cheddar cheese for our scone recipe. And the first thing I would say is, as always, we've washed our hands. Our fingernails are short. I think you have to make sure that if you are using the grater that your fingernails are quite short for this, because that is quite easy to catch your fingers or your skin in graters. So please be careful if you are using the grater. And the idea is when you use it, you grate away from yourself. Don't grate too fast because you don't want to grate your knuckles, and grate down towards the plate that we're putting it on. So just be very careful if you are using your grater today that you don't hurt yourself. Edward is using the grater and he's grating down away from himself, and he's grating the cheese for us, which is great. Well done, Edward. If it does get too small, you can turn the cheese round. Just be very careful that we don't get our fingernails.
We have grated 100 grams of cheese.
There we go, and our 100 grams of cheese are perfectly grated. We're just going to set that to one side and get all of our dry ingredients, our flour and things together. Okay, now that we have grated our cheese, to save a wee bit of time, I have pre-measured our ingredients this morning, and I've got our large bowl for mixing our scone dough together. So we have got 225 grams of self-raising flour, which I'm just going to put in the bowl. Edward's going to add 1 pinch of salt. So will you put your fingers in and put a wee pinch? That's it. A wee pinch of salt. Pop it in the bowl. That's it. A pinch of salt goes in. Then we're going to add 55 grams of butter. Now I've already cubed mine, and I'm just going to add the 55 grams of butter in. And I'm going to add, again, just a wee pinch of hot paprika. You do not need to add that, that's optional, that's just something that I wanted to add. So just add that in, just a wee pinch. Well done.
That's not a wee pinch, that's quite a lot.
Well, it's not too bad. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use our fingers, and the skill for this is to rub the butter together so that it becomes like breadcrumbs. So the butter and the flour and our pinch of salt, we are going to rub together. Rubbing the butter in until we get to the consistency of fine breadcrumbs. So rub it in the flour, Edward, rather than in your fingers. Rub it in the flour. Alright, we want to have no lumps of butter left. That's it, so put it in the flour. So you can see now that all of our lumps of butter are gone and our flour looks like fine breadcrumbs. At this stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the cheese, and I'm going to get Edward to continue mixing all of that cheese in before we add the milk. So doing the same kind of thing, we still want it to be rubbed together, but just so that the cheese is well mixed in. We don't need to have it like breadcrumbs as such, but certainly have it all well mixed into the flour. Okay, and that is all of our dry ingredients in the bowl. We've added our cheese as well to that and our butter. We mixed it like breadcrumbs, and now what we're going to do is we're going to gradually pour in 150 millilitres of milk. Before we do that, I should say that our oven has been set to 200 degrees and it is preheating for us to be able to cook our scones when we're finished all of the mixing. So we're going to add our milk, but we're going to add it gradually because we don't want the mixture to be too wet. And you can see our dough has come together. And what we're going to do now is we're going to get our hands in and we're going to give it a wee knead, and then we're going to start shaping it before we use our cutter to shape our scones. Okay, so we have our lump of dough. What we're going to do now is we're going to use our rolling pin, and we're going to roll it to about 1 centimetre thickness. Unfortunately, I cannot find my pastry cutters. I was going to have a real mum moment there and use a Play-Doh cutter, but I'm going to give the chef rings a try. We'll see how they go. But we want to roll our dough to about 1 centimetre thick, and then we're going to cut our scones out of it. So Edward, you want to start rolling our dough. I should say we've lightly floured the surface. We have given the dough a wee knead before we have brought it all together into this ball. So Edward's just going to give it a roll with a rolling pin. Edward's doing an excellent job of rolling out our dough. It's nearly about 1 centimetre thick, so I say it would be perfect. And we're going to start cutting. Yeah, I changed my mind on the pastry cutter. I decided it was too large, so I'm going to use this small glass, and hopefully it's a more sensible size for cutting out the scones. So Edward is going to cut our first, but we have to, before we cut, we go right to the side and we push it all the way through to the table. Okay?
Yeah.
There we go. And there we have our first scone. So Edward is just cutting it. He's pushing it all the way through until he gets to the table, and then he's lifting it straight off. Well done. And then we can lift our wee scone out. So we've got some wee scones here. So our scones are now on the tray, the baking tray, ready to go in the oven. And what Edward is going to do, probably with the help of Joseph, who's just keeking his way in here, is he's going to take our pastry brush and brush the top of our scones, our cheese scones, with a little bit of milk. Are you going to do that too, Joseph?
Oh, that's yuck.
It's not yuck, it's milk. So we're going to brush that on the top just now. So Edward's just going to take a little bit of milk and brush it onto the top of the cheese scones on the tray. Well done. So like a paintbrush.
Mash up.
Let Edward do another one, and then you can do one, Joseph. So brush it like a paintbrush, Edward. Well done. Right, Joseph, there you go. You take it like a paintbrush on the top. Well done. There you go, like a paintbrush. And then on top of the scone. Excellent. Well done. We're now going to put these in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes at 200 degrees, and you'll see them when they are ready to come out. And there we have our cheese scones that have been in the oven for 15 minutes at 200 degrees, and they're ready to come out. Hi everyone, so our scones are ready. We have our cheese scones that we made first thing this morning. I then made a second batch of just plain scones, which are going to get filled with cream and jam. And we are ready for our social distancing street party for VE Day. And we just want to say bye to everyone now. And bye, and enjoy your street parties if you're having one. Bye!